Hello everyone, and welcome to another video. This one's gonna be a little different. I'm gonna rant for a moment, for a few, I should say. So I just want to go ahead and say, prior to this rant, that I have lots of respect for retail workers and the things that they have to put up with. Irate customers, ornery customers that, no matter what you do, nothing's going to be right. Now, with that said, let's begin the rant. Okay. I've worked in retail for a very long time. I don't anymore, but I used to for like 7, 8 years. But so I've seen it all. I've worked, register, bagging, the Starbucks, the thing, the deli, the grocery. Like I've been all over, and I've done everything. So I've seen all kinds of things. And I get that employees need to make the day go by. They need to make it fun. They need to whatever they can do to get through the day. It's all fine and dandy. So here's the story. So we were checking out tonight at our local grocery store, and I was putting my stuff on my belt. There was a lady in front of us, and the bagger and the cashier was having a fun banter back and forth about apparently some incident that had happened earlier that night about a gentleman coming in and not liking the way his groceries are bagged, and proceeded to apparently yell at the boys, who apparently are 16, I don't know, about their incompetence of bagging groceries or something like that. Okay, so I get that, for one, we don't know what's going on in people's lives, so we don't know what drove him to be agitated about that, or if his whole life has been nothing but agitation, so he takes it out on everybody. And for that, I'm sorry. And I'm sorry for the workers who have to handle that in a professional way and get through just to make them happy so they'll come back to the store. And sometimes they can literally draw you to tears. That has happened to me. And I'll tell you that story later. But, so, I don't know how many customers ago this was. All I know is they were bantering back and forth about this incident, making fun of it, making laugh about the bagger's incompetence to bag. And so the bagger proceeds to ask the lady in front of us if she would like her raw meat separated from frozen stuff or whatever, or something like that. Maybe that's what he asked me. But and she goes, yes, or something. And so he proceeded to bag accordingly, but the cashier is like, well, he'd probably do it anyway. And that's how this whole story is going about. So, needless to say, they finish her. She doesn't look amused by their conversation. And then I'm up there getting my groceries. And they're still bantering back and forth about this incident. And I know that you got to be lighthearted when it comes retail, because people lash out and they're not meaning to lash out at you, but you just happen to be an easy target that day. And so you might get hurt, and sometimes you got to make it fun for you later, so you're not emotionally scarred for the rest of your life. But after that incident, I get that the employees are going to talk about it. They are. They're going to talk about any incident that spikes interest in their life. However, I firmly believe that needs to be break room talk on their break, because it does not show respect to the future customers on their bantering back and forth about an incident that happened a couple customers ago. So with that said, I understand why they were making fun of it, making a hard situation feel light and airy. But at the same time, to the customers who weren't there and did not see or witness or whatever, it just sounds like you're making fun of someone. And that's not okay. And like I said earlier, we don't know what's going on in people's lives. So we don't know what happened to that man that day that could have agitated him, and his groceries being bagged was just the set off. Or if, something's been happening all week and he just couldn't handle it. Like, we don't know. Or, sometimes they're just mean people. And I don't mean that badly, but in life, they're just sometimes mean people. But there's also sometimes circumstances around their lives that make them that way. And sometimes they take it out on innocent people. And that's very sad. But when you work retail, and I know this is hard, it's really, really hard, but you cannot take it to heart. And I get that that's what they were doing, is not taking it to heart. However, their professionalism by carrying it on, the conversation about bantering about it, and while they're bringing up other people, I didn't get greeted because they were busy having a conversation. And because I've worked for that specific company in a different state and then this state for a little while, I know their policy on you're supposed to greet every customer, you're supposed to go above and beyond, and you're supposed to be extraordinary. And if you can't make that customer happy, that's when management has to come in, and they'll do their best to make themselves happy, make them happy. And sometimes you just can't. And that's just the way it is. But the whole point of this rant is to not carry on a conversation while you're working about another customer. Because you never know. It might be me one day that just had a stressful day and just lost my cool over bad groceries. I don't know. And then I'm going to be the highlight of every single customer that goes through that line again. Like, I don't feel that that's the utmost professionalism. Okay. And granted, like I said, it takes wearing a heart of gold to not take everything personal when bad things happen or people lose their cool. But I also don't think it's correct for them to be working on the field, bantering back and forth, making fun of what had just happened that must have been a very intense situation during it. And I get that. And for when I had a very intense situation, working a retail section, I was a new hire, so I didn't know like everything, different company, different rules and stuff. And a person had come up to use this coupon on pictures or whatever it was. I don't even remember. But like, I was doing my best. I was being polite. I was being good. And all of a sudden, she just lost her cool because I still wasn't able to take this coupon. Needless to say, I personally ended up crying and got sent to the back to the break room to pull myself together, while my manager handled her. And then when I come back out, like I had myself together, she was still there, but she apologized. And I don't know what was said while I was gone, but, obviously there's things that are going on in everybody's lives that we don't know what's going on. So we just need to be mindful and try our best to be the best. And who knows, you being the most ridiculous, happy, upbeat person, it'd probably be their highlight of the day, or, I don't know. But this is a random video, but something that is either been drilled into my head for so long working retail, or just, a combination of all that knowledge in my head and the compassion that I have for people and the way that I think that most people should be treated. But, not everybody's perfect. And I get that these were teenagers and they're just trying to make a buck. But obviously there's got to be a more respectful way for them to get their frustration out in a positive way, but not on the floor for customers to hear. But that's the end of this weird rant.